The world of storytelling is a delicate tapestry woven from the threads of those rare individuals who possess the uncanny ability to command the screen without ever needing to raise their voices. Every now and then, the entertainment landscape experiences a quiet yet profound shift, a moment where a presence that felt entirely permanent suddenly transitions into a legacy. It is a phenomenon well known to avid viewers of cinema and television alike, that some of the most unforgettable figures are not necessarily the ones bathed in the brightest heroic light, but rather those who embody the shadows, the wisdom, and the unbreakable resolve of characters who anchor entire fictional universes. To understand the depth of this impact, one must look closely at how certain artists manage to bridge the gap between continents, cultures, and generations, leaving an indelible mark on global pop culture while remaining deeply rooted in the tight-knit communities that raised them. As we begin to explore this remarkable journey through the valleys of artistic triumph and the quiet spaces of personal grace, we invite you to become a permanent part of our community by subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so that you never miss the deeply moving stories of the icons who shape our collective cultural memory. The narrative of an actor's life is rarely a straight line, but rather a complex mosaic of unexpected breaks, late career renaissances, and a steady, undeniable accumulation of respect from peers who recognize true mastery when they see it. In the high-stakes environment of modern entertainment, where fame can be fleeting and superficial, the longevity of a career spanning decades stands as a monument to sheer talent and an unyielding work ethic. When news begins to ripple through the creative community that a foundational figure has departed, the immediate reaction is often a collective pause. A moment where the noise of the industry fades away to reveal a deep reservoir of shared gratitude and profound sorrow. This particular story begins in the vibrant, bustling streets of mid-century Hong Kong, a city that has long served as a magnificent crucible for cinematic talent and artistic expression, before transferring its unique energy to the competitive stages and sets of New York City. To fully appreciate the weight of the loss currently being felt across the entertainment industry, one must first step back into the atmosphere of those early days. Understanding the courage it took to navigate a changing world and a profession that did not always make space for diverse voices. It is within this context of perseverance and quiet majesty that we find the origins of an artist who would eventually become a household name to millions of comic book fans, indie film enthusiasts, and theater-goers alike. The true measure of an actor lies not just in the length of their filmography, but in the specific way they make an audience feel, creating a sense of profound unease or immense warmth with nothing more than a slight tilt of the head or a calculated pause in their delivery. For years, viewers watched this enigmatic presence command the screen, often outshining Hollywood's biggest stars by simply existing in the space with an unmatched gravity that defied her petite stature. Yet, behind the fierce countenances of the formidable matriarchs and lethal underworld leaders she portrayed so effortlessly lay a human being of extraordinary warmth, whose real-life gentleness stood in stark, beautiful contrast to the terrifying roles that made her a global icon. As the initial reports of her passing at the age of 82 began to circulate, the public was left to grapple with the sudden absence of a performer who had come to represent stability, excellence, and a living bridge to a golden era of acting. The shock of the announcement was amplified by the fact that she had remained so active, so vibrant, and so deeply embedded in the creative lives of her colleagues right up until the very end. It is a rare gift to be able to reinvent oneself in the later chapters of life, to capture the imagination of a completely new generation of viewers who grew up in the era of streaming television and cinematic universes. Yet that is precisely what this extraordinary woman achieved. The tributes that have started to pour in from every corner of the industry do not merely praise her technical skill. Instead, they speak of a sanctuary, a pillar of support for younger actors who found themselves lost in the grueling labyrinth of show business. This introduction to her life and the sudden silence that has followed her departure serves as the opening movement of a grander appreciation, a testament to a life lived with immense purpose and an artistry that refused to be confined by expectations. As we prepare to delve deeper into the specific milestones of her spectacular career and the intimate memories shared by those who knew her best, we are reminded of the fragile nature of artistic genius and the permanence of the characters they leave behind for posterity. The atmosphere in the acting community today is one of quiet reflection. As friends and admirers look back at a journey that began a lifetime away and concluded in the hearts of millions of fans who recognized that they were watching a true master of the craft at work. The sense of intrigue surrounding her career stems from this very duality, the contrast between the fearsome, calculating characters that defined her late career fame and the gentle, nurturing soul who spent her off-screen hours mentoring the next generation of storytellers. It is this duality that we will unravel, looking past the prosthetics, the dramatic lighting, and the scripts to find the essence of a woman who was, by all accounts, a stellar human and a peerless artist. In the chapters to come, the full scope of her influence will become undeniably clear, revealing how a girl from Hong Kong conquered the cutthroat world of American entertainment while maintaining an unblemished reputation for grace, humility, and absolute professionalism. For now, the world remembers the silhouette of a formidable figure on screen, a performance that lingered in the mind long after the credits rolled, and the bittersweet realization that an era has drawn to its close, leaving a void that will not easily be filled by those who follow in her footsteps. The true centerpiece of this artistic journey, and the segment of her career that catapulted her into the global consciousness, belongs to a modern golden age of televised graphic novel adaptations. To mention the name Madame Gao is to invoke an immediate sense of chilling authority, a character who, through sheer presence and an icy, calculated demeanor, dominated the gritty criminal underworld of a fictionalized New York City. When Marvel Television launched its interconnected universe on streaming platforms, viewers were introduced to a web of complex heroes, but it was the villains who frequently stole the show. And none did so with more terrifying subtlety than the character brought to life by this veteran actress. Across multiple seasons of acclaimed series including Daredevil, Iron Fist, and the grand crossover event The Defenders, she portrayed a leader of an ancient, shadowy organization with such profound gravity that she stood toe-to-toe with Hollywood heavyweights and seasoned action stars alike. Watching her share the screen with icons like Sigourney Weaver, she did not merely hold her own, she commanded the frame, proving that true power on camera does not require physical bulk or explosive outbursts, but can instead be projected through the deliberate tapping of a cane or a softly spoken directive that could seal the fate of entire empires. This era of her career introduced her to millions of younger fans who may have been entirely unaware of her decades-long history in the performing arts, yet they instantly recognized the arrival of a legendary talent. The tension she constructed within those scenes was palpable, creating an atmosphere where audiences held their breath whenever she entered a room, never quite knowing what sinister machinations were operating behind her calm, inscrutable expression. Yet, the brilliance of her professional output was never limited to a single genre or the confines of comic book lore. In stark contrast to the shadowy alleyways of Hell's Kitchen, she effortlessly transitioned into the bright, high-stakes, and often comedic world of major Hollywood cinema, notably capturing hearts as the beloved, traditional, yet fiercely independent on-screen grandmother of Constance Wu's character in the hit film Hustlers. This role showcased a completely different facet of her immense range, allowing her to ground a high-energy, chaotic narrative with a sense of authentic familial warmth, cultural continuity, and quiet humor that resonated deeply with audiences worldwide. The sheer versatility required to move seamlessly between a ruthless global crime lord and a nurturing, protective grandmother is a testament to a lifetime of dedicated preparation and an innate understanding of human nature. Her filmography, as recorded across the annals of cinematic history, reveals a staggering breadth of work that includes foundational American television staples. Long before the streaming wars transformed how media is consumed, she was a familiar and welcome face on traditional television, making memorable appearances in long-running daytime dramas such as One Life to Live, and critically acclaimed primetime series like Law and Order, Orange is the New Black, and the whimsical musical comedy Flight of the Conchords. She lent her talents to contemporary hit comedies as well, bringing her unique energy to shows like Fresh Off the Boat, The Jim Gaffigan Show, Awkwafina is Nora from Queens, and the wildly popular mystery comedy Only Murders in the Building. Each of these appearances, whether a brief guest spot or recurring role, was marked by her trademark commitment to authenticity, ensuring that no character she played was ever a mere caricature, but always a living, breathing individual with a distinct voice and purpose. Beyond the glowing screens of television and cinema, her true sanctuary and the place where her artistic soul burned brightest was the live theater. The stage offered a raw, immediate connection with an audience, and she conquered it with the same quiet dignity that defined her media career. Her theatrical triumphs were numerous and deeply respected within the New York creative community, encompassing powerful performances in groundbreaking productions such as Lao Wang, A Chinatown King Lear, Snow in Midsummer, and the deeply moving play Endlings. It was on these stages, stripped of the editing tricks and special effects of Hollywood, that her fellow actors truly witnessed the depth of her power. To share a dressing room or a stage with her was to receive a masterclass not only in the technical mechanics of acting, but in the art of human decency and professional dedication. Following the sudden and heartbreaking news of her departure at the age of 82, the community she helped build and sustain has risen up to offer an emotional outpouring of grief and gratitude that paints a vivid picture of who she was behind the curtain. The initial announcements did not come through formal public relations statements or corporate press releases, but rather from the raw, grief-stricken social media posts of the very actors who had stood alongside her in the trenches of production. These tributes provide a rare, intimate window into the character of a woman who served as a vital anchor for an entire generation of performers, particularly those navigating an industry where mentors of similar backgrounds were few and far between. Actor Peter Shinkoda took to his personal social media platform to share a deeply moving message directed toward his late co-star, expressing an eternal gratitude for the moments they spent together both on and off the set. In his emotional tribute, he noted that he made a conscious effort to learn from her every single minute they were together, describing her words as pure wisdom that he would hang on to with absolute reverence, concluding with the heartbreaking declaration that they would surely meet again and remembering her as a truly beautiful soul. This sentiment of profound respect and personal loss was echoed by filmmaker and actor Judy Lay, who recalled with immense gratitude how incredibly kind and generous the veteran actress had been during the production of her very first film. Lay shared a poignant story that perfectly illustrates the late actress's unparalleled professionalism and grace under pressure. During the independent production, the crew tragically lost their filming location close to midnight right before a scheduled shoot, leaving the young director in a state of panic. When the news was broken to the veteran star the following morning, there was no anger, no diva behavior, and no complaint. Instead, she arrived at the newly scrambled location, completely prepared, lines memorized, and having even brought her own outfit to ensure the production could proceed without further delay. Lay further revealed that when she mistakenly forgot to have the necessary paperwork signed on set, she had to visit the actress's private home days later to rectify the error, and she was met with nothing but absolute grace, warmth, and a total lack of disappointment regarding the young filmmaker's lack of experience. This level of humility from an industry veteran left a permanent mark on everyone involved, serving as a shining example of how to conduct oneself with true dignity in a chaotic industry. The memories continued to flood in from other prominent colleagues, such as actor Mahira Kakar, who spoke vibrantly about the enormous good fortune of sharing both a stage and a dressing room with her. Kakar described her as an incredibly warm, funny, caring, and joyful individual who maintained a fiercely positive outlook on life, even while tackling some of the most demanding roles imaginable. It was revealed that at an age when most people have long since retired, she was still taking on monumental lead roles, effectively delivering a tour-de-force performance as a female interpretation of King Lear that left audiences and critics completely riveted. Off-stage, she was remembered for her practical wisdom and maternal care, frequently advising her younger colleagues to eat 2 slices of raw ginger every single day as a natural shield against illness. A small but telling detail that highlights her nurturing spirit. For a generation of minority artists who entered the entertainment industry at a time when representation was scarce, she stood as an immovable pillar of strength, an irreplaceable role model who proved that longevity, respect, and artistic integrity could be achieved without ever compromising one's values or speaking ill of another human being. As the industry collectively mourns, the absence of an official cause of death only adds a layer of quiet, solemn mystery to her departure, leaving fans and loved ones to focus entirely on the monumental legacy of a stellar artist who showed the world exactly how to live, how to perform, and how to treat others with unwavering grace. To fully understand the monumental nature of this loss, one must examine the broader historical arc of a career that began long before the age of digital streaming and Hollywood blockbusters, serving as a testament to the changing tides of global media. Born in the vibrant cultural epicenter of Hong Kong, she carried with her a unique artistic sensibility, a combination of disciplined focus and emotional depth that would become her signature as she transitioned to the competitive and often unforgiving landscape of Western entertainment. Her journey was not one of overnight sensation or manufactured stardom, but rather a slow, deliberate building of an architectural marvel of a career, brick by professional brick, spanning over several decades of profound cultural shifts. According to the historical archives of the entertainment industry, her very first major foray into the world of American feature films occurred in the year 1990, when she secured a role in the darkly comedic and satirical film Cadillac Man, sharing the screen with legendary comedic forces like Robin Williams and dramatic heavyweights like Tim Robbins. This early exposure to the highest levels of Hollywood production set a standard for her future endeavors, demonstrating that she could seamlessly integrate into complex, fast-paced American narratives while retaining her distinct identity and screen presence. From that pivotal moment onward, she enjoyed an exceptionally active, continuous, and diverse acting career that refused to slow down, even as the decades advanced and the industry evolved around her. The true significance of her journey lies in how she shattered the conventional limitations placed upon mature performers, particularly women of international backgrounds, by consistently finding new depths of expression well into her 70s and 80s. Her path through the industry became a beacon of hope and a blueprint for survival for countless artists who looked at her and saw that it was indeed possible to maintain one's dignity, relevance, and artistic vitality across a lifetime. The importance of her presence in major franchises like the Marvel Cinematic Universe cannot be overstated, as she provided a critical anchor of realism and mythological gravity to fantastical stories, ensuring that the stakes felt genuinely high for audiences worldwide. When viewers watched her confront powerful heroes, they were not just watching a scripted conflict, they were witnessing a masterclass in psychological tension and physical restraint, delivered by an actress who understood that the greatest power often resides in the quietest moments. The legacy she leaves behind is woven directly into the fabric of these iconic stories, ensuring that future generations of film scholars and fans will continue to study her movements, her delivery, and her unparalleled ability to command attention. Beyond the commercial success and the mainstream recognition, her impact on the independent film community and the live theater scene remains a cornerstone of her identity, highlighting her unwavering commitment to supporting raw, authentic storytelling at every level of budget and scale. Her performance as the protective, cautious grandmother in the critically acclaimed independent film Children of Invention remains a high watermark of her dramatic capability, capturing the heartbreaking realities of immigrant survival with a nuance that brought audiences to tears. It was this willingness to pivot between massive studio productions and intimate, low-budget passion projects that endeared her so deeply to filmmakers like Judy Lay and Sachun, who recognized that her involvement lent an immediate credibility and soul to their creative visions. The theatrical stage, however, was perhaps where her absence will be felt most acutely, as the physical spaces of the New York theater community lose one of their most reliable and inspiring giants. To take on a monumental, emotionally exhausting role akin to a female King Lear in the twilight of one's life is a feat that very few performers in history would even attempt, let alone execute with the riveting, breathtaking precision that she displayed night after night. Her younger colleagues looked up to her not just as a fellow performer, but as a living shield against the cynicism that can so easily infect the entertainment industry. A mentor who showed them by example that true success is measured by how one treats the crew, how one supports a struggling director, and how one carries oneself when the cameras stop rolling. The profound sorrow that has settled over the creative community in the wake of her passing is balanced by a deep, celebratory gratitude for a life that was lived fully, beautifully, and without a shred of compromise. As the global audience reflects on the quiet departure of this extraordinary 82-year-old icon,